Hello, how are you? We're going to do Starscream today!
If you can't tell, I'm excited. Oh god, it's bright today. This will be my first, well, not my first time. I have painted Transformers before, I have. In the far and distant past. But it's Starscream today. He's going to be done in watercolours, and I'm going to use full colour, and I'm going to be super good and super excited and not stress about this going badly whatsoever. I can't look at you. I'm so sorry. Camera, if I do it the other way, I just look like Satan coming in from above. Let's get started. Oh boy, it is probably a good thing you can't see how much I've edited out of this video, because there was a lot of umming and ahhing, especially during the inking process of this piece. I think the pressure got to me a little bit, especially as this is my first print that I've made with direct intention to sell, to get everything as perfect as possible, and then I started to question how I was holding the pen, how much ink was I using, and then you can actually see through the paper in the light box in this video much easier than I could for some reason. I don't know how the camera was picking up on that better than I was, but I could barely see what was underneath it. It's an unfortunate side effect of mixed media paper that it's quite thick, so I couldn't see the print paper underneath it that well, so there was a lot of umming and ahhing and wait and peeling the sticky tape off and having a look underneath and then re-sticking it back on and then worrying when it wasn't directly lined up. So I've cut a lot of that out, and you'd be surprised how long the video was, even sped up with those bits in it. Now, I am sorry that in this section you'll see a lot of my hands. I was pushing the paper down to try and get as much detail as I could with the light. It's not the best light box, I will admit. I did get it from Wish for a £5. So, I might invest in something a bit better or make my own one day, but for now it's good enough. I don't use it often, and it was a nice little exercise to try. So the background was one of the most challenging things about this painting. I have skipped a little bit at the front there simply because I forgot to press record. I got a bit too into the zone, so apologies for that, but I don't think you've missed very much of it. See, I don't often actively paint backgrounds. I'm usually a character-focused painter. Backgrounds and perspective, it scares me. It scares me a lot, and so while I know the scene would take place in my mind either in Darkmount on the Nemesis, or the ship the Decepticons use, or the main base at the end of season, I think it's season 3. Season 3. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, huge purple colour schemes for both and very angular. But I honestly didn't feel like doing that, and I thought all the different angles would make Starscream himself, who's quite angular, get lost a little bit. So I decided to go for a more abstract kind of look, and I think it honestly went really well. I've not layered like this before, or at least not for some time, and I was very pleased with how it came out. I was mixing different tones of purple to go with it. I was quite happy to go very colourful because Starscream himself and Megatron, as little of them is shown here, don't have very bright colour schemes. So while I knew they would be, grey neutral, or maybe like a dark blue kind of grey, as you'll see later, I knew the background could be as bright or as dark as I wanted, and the two would still stand out. Just a little quick look here at the finished background. There's a few where I got impatient with the diamonds before they dried, so the edges aren't as crisp as I'd have liked. But I think overall the effect is fine. It was nothing I couldn't correct later. I have to admit I sound a little bit like a broken record, and I'm sorry about that when I keep saying that I'm not confident with things or out of practice, and unfortunately it's genuinely true. I'm not as in practice as I'd like to be. At the minute the job search takes priority. I don't assume that I can just go on YouTube and start making a living off there as much as I'd, really like to. So when it comes to especially painting, I am not as in practice as I'd like, and honestly I think that's fine, because when I was layering the ink here, I was working extremely lightly. I diluted the ink a lot, so only maybe a drop or less in a bit of water, and while it meant a lot of layers, it meant I was confident enough that I wouldn't obscure anything or mess anything up while painting, and that was honestly a boon for me because I wanted this to go right. As I say, a lot of self-pressure, a lot of It would be a lot of time wasted to start again. I do have a time limit until the convention itself, and three other pieces to do, so I want each of them to be as best as possible. That's not to say that I don't have other things to sell. I've already designed my button pin badges and my stickers. My stickers have already been delivered and my badges are inbound. I don't know where they are because Royal Mail doesn't have a tracking service, but they're on their way. Hopefully they'll appear. So, and with those small pieces, which was not my first time in the case of the badges, but definitely in case of the stickers, my first time designing for those, and I was surprised at how different it was to creating actual paintings. I had to think of not just a stylized version of the characters that I'd be selling, but also any in-jokes or punchlines or ways to fit composition into something much smaller that would have to stand out a lot more with colour, and it was really enjoyable actually. I got really into those two, and coming back to painting an actual piece felt a little bit jarring, honestly, and my famous impatience came back again because it didn't take long at all to sketch and think and design and actually paint the stickers, despite my unfamiliarity with digital painting. So when I came back I was like, well, why can't I do this piece, this A5 piece, in the same amount of time as a couple inch sticker? What do you mean it's taking longer? And there's a part of your brain that knows why it's taking longer. It's simply more to do, but the productivity rush I get from finishing things gets very, very impatient. So coming back was a learning curve, let's put it that way. So finally I've gone in here with the markers because I have a little bit more control this way, and the varying tones of grey suited Starscream's plating very well. And also I was getting a little bit sick of just adding layer upon layer upon layer of ink and was too scared to go and mix some more in case I messed up so close to the end. So markers it was! I've got 5 different tones. They're called, if I get them out here, the Chameleon colour fade ones, I believe. They do have an option at the tip to blend out very, very smoothly, but I'm not good at that yet, so I didn't use it. I just basically extended all the shadows on Starscream's frame and we deepened it up. I maybe shouldn't have used warm grey on the throne because that created a very heavy imbalance towards the bottom of the piece and a lot of contrast where I potentially didn't want it, but I don't think it's that bad, in all honesty. I'm definitely not going to go back and fix it now that I'm pleased with literally every other aspect of this painting. Last but not least, we have Megatron and his helm. I almost went in with the red again in his eye to, because, he's got red eyes, that's, simple enough. But then I remembered the Megatron's actually decapitated and supposed to be dead. So I went in at the last second with black. It's a good thing I remembered that, actually, though I don't think it would have hurt the piece too much. And then came the Energon, which was honestly really fun. It sounds dark, but I love painting blood splatters, and it went really nicely.
It is finished.
I think it went really well. Oh boy, there were a few moments in there that I thought I'd messed up, admittedly. Little elements of the background, me suddenly realising that I deleted all my references accidentally and just winged it when it came to Starscream's middle. I cowered it out. Is that a word? I'm fairly certain it's not, but we're using it today. Yeah, I was stout of going for something stronger for the Energon. I was going to use gouache, but no. I think it looks alright. I think I'm actually very happy that this is going to be a print that I will be selling at TF Nation, 1 of 4, if you would know that if you watched one of my previous videos. Hint, hint. Hint, hint, you should do that. Regardless. Very happy with Starscream. I think he looks particularly good next to the sketch version of him, which you would see on my Instagram and my Tumblr. I post a lot of the fandom-based art to Tumblr. You should totally follow me there and watch me cry over my perceived lack of inability and general terrible time management. So that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed the content. You should totally like, comment, subscribe below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you would like to see me do any other characters. You could leave recommendations. I'm very open to pretty much any iteration of Transformers. I won't draw Bayverse. That's too many moving parts. I'm not going to do Bayverse. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next week. Goodbye, and thank you.